Shalom. In Matthew 21, verses 42 through 45, Jesus is really saying that he is the stone that the builders rejected, and he's become the chief cornerstone. Now, he's referring to Psalm 118, verses 22 to 23. Now, in Hebrew, it does not say the chief cornerstone. It says Even Hayeta Rosh Pinah, which basically means the stone that has become the chief stone of the place of turning. And indeed, the place of turning certainly is a cornerstone. And so definitely we can say that Jesus, definitely the stone rejected, he has become the first stone. He has become the cornerstone. Scholars also suggest that it can mean the keystone of an arch. That's the last stone of the arch that's put in place to hold the arch together. So Jesus, the stone rejected, has become the keystone of the arch, the last stone. And all depends upon him. Now, in videos 4, 5, and 6, we did a Bible study that showed that indeed Jesus was the cornerstone. He was the first stone. But now we want to take a look as Jesus is the keystone, as the headstone of the place of turning of an arch, the last stone, the stone that completes the arch. Come, let's go see. So let me take you to someplace that is really cool. It's called Timna Park, and it's the site of the ancient Egyptian copper mines that would have been there in Moses' day, and then later on, Solomon's mines as well. Now, in Numbers 33, we're given the itinerary of the Exodus, and it just so happens that Timna Park is halfway between these two locations. So Israeli scholars built an exact model of the tabernacle here at Timna Park, and you can visit it. But why? The itinerary suggests that this might be a place where the Hebrews stopped and camped and set up the tabernacle. This is so cool. To be at a place where Moses was makes the Exodus that much more real. Now, someplace along that journey, perhaps here at Timna, God was speaking to Moses, and we read about this in Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. And that God told Moses that he was going to raise up a prophet just like Moses, and we're going to listen to him. Now, this seems to be like a prediction of the coming Messiah. It seems like this verse is talking about Jesus. There are some amazing connections between Moses and the Messiah. They're both sent by God and given what to say. And for Moses, he's like God to Pharaoh, but Jesus is God. One is as God, one is God. There's blood on the wood, the doorposts, so that indeed all the Hebrews who have put that blood on the doorposts will be saved from God's wrath of the plague that will be brought upon the firstborn of Egypt. But Jesus, the blood on the wood, the blood on the cross, saving us from God's wrath that would be brought upon all the nations. And indeed, both Messiah and Moses are at the mountain of God Sinai, and the mountain of God Yerushalayim, Jerusalem. Moses sees God's glory, but Jesus is God's glory in Jerusalem. Moses and Israel entered a new covenant with the Lord there at the mountain of God, but Messiah, Jesus, he brings the new covenant. It's interesting to note that Rabbi Berechia in the 4th century AD, he talks about the fact that Moses is the first redeemer and Messiah is the last redeemer. So we take a look at that arch. It's almost as if one side is the Hebrew scriptures, the Old Testament, the other side of is the Messianic text, the New Testament. And it all comes together at the last stone. It all comes together at the keystone. And Jesus is a prophet like Moses, given the words to speak, sent by his Father. But Jesus is the last Redeemer. And through Jesus and through the cross, there's a new nation created, a new priesthood, us, Jew and Gentile together, delivered from the bondage of sin. So indeed, there are some amazing connections between Moses and the Messiah, Moses and Jesus. Jesus is the last Redeemer. And that agrees with our whole concept of Jesus coming and what he came to do. So I'll see you in video 8 as we continue to teach the truth of Revelation 12:13, where Jesus says, I am the Aleph and the Tav. I am the beginning and the end. I am the first and the last. Shalom.